Vortex, I have something to show you. This little girl gave me this little angel. I think it's an angel. I don't know what else it could be. But yeah, we just had this really long church service. It was like 3 hours. Because it's the 12 Gospels, Passion Gospels. And so my priest was reading from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And I wasn't the only one crying. So it was interesting because this little girl, she gave me and this other dude this little angel. And I don't know if it's because we were both crying. But yeah, I know that I'm in the right place because I'm so emotional and there's really nowhere else I can put all of it. And the gospel is one of the few things that actually makes me feel better. And I was just thinking tonight about that Pink Floyd song. You know, the most well-known Pink Floyd song. Wish You Were Here. So you think you can tell heaven from hell. How does that go? So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain. Can you tell a green field from a cold steel rail, a smile from a veil? That one. Yeah, so I was thinking about that, like how, like I really don't know what healing is. You know, and growing up in America, it's like we're trained to believe in like the quick fix but it's never that though, man. Like it seems like an elongated fix. Like you just keep trying to fix it and it doesn't ever get fixed. But you know, you tell yourself that maybe these pills will work, or I'll feel some sort of solace because I have this piece of information about myself. And while I'm not discouraging anyone from obtaining any kind of information about themselves, I feel like that's something that you have to figure out on your own, and that takes time. It's not just like you go into a clinic and they just tell you what you are, and they barely know you, if they know you at all. It's like, think about it. When you know somebody for a long time, there are things that you pick up on in relation to their like idiosyncratic behaviors and things like that. That's never really discussed in, you know, a therapist's office, or like, God forbid, a psychiatrist's office. Like, you don't have much time, you know, in all fairness to the cockamamie head doctor. They really don't have hardly any time at all to like correctly assess you. And furthermore, if the person that's seeking help, if they just want to keep lying to themselves, and a lot of the time help doesn't actually help. And so if you're dealing with a manipulative person, or you're dealing with a person that's just, you know, gaslighting all the time, or they don't want to face certain aspects of themselves, then yeah, like, they're probably going to seek a therapist. They're definitely going to seek a psychiatrist, I'll tell you that. But they're going to seek a therapist that validates them. That's why a lot of therapists dropped out of the whole, like, the trance argument. You know, like, they're afraid to push back on that. But I think that trans people kind of prove a point here that, like, that's really what therapy is. Like, I think that most of the time, I mean, therapists don't really want to deal with, like, truly mentally ill people, or, you know, manipulative types. You know, I don't think that they know what to do with those types of people. And I don't think religious people do either. But, you know, I pray for these motherfuckers because that's all we can really do. But, like, what it comes down to is virtue. So you really have to have the virtue to want to be a better person. Because self-awareness isn't enough. You can be self-aware all day, you just keep making the same mistake. And then it essentially turns into a self-fulfilling prophecy where you tell yourself, well, this always happens, I'm always going to do this. And then you just stay there, you know? I get it, I've been there, I've done it. And I do that in a lot of ways. But I think there's a difference between knowing yourself and understanding the way that you're wired mentally and emotionally versus just rationalizing it. Because I don't want to hurt anybody. That's why I try to keep my distance, because I know that I'm not emotionally available. Like, I'm just not. And sometimes I wish that I was, but wishing and hoping and thinking and praying and planning and dreaming, that's not realistic. It's not. It's like, I'm not going to pray. Like, if I'm fucking short, like, say I'm, like, 5'2", I'm not going to pray that I get taller. You know what I mean? I kind of look at some mental and emotional stuff in a similar way. I think that, like, there's some things that can be changed. It boils down to the serenity prayer, once again. Like, God grant me the serenity. Oh, shit, not me. That's good. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, the wisdom to know the difference. Oh, look, there are more of them. Look, wait for it. Holy shit, dude. Why? Why so many? That's 5. There's another one coming. Wait for it. It's 5 cops. Ooh, there's another one coming, dude. You got all these cops from Spring Hill going to Columbia. I wonder what's going on over there. You'll see them in a second. Vortex. Pretty excited. You never know what's going to happen on Amy Gross's channel. Hope you get him, man. I hope you get him. Anyway. Yeah, that serenity prayer is so helpful, and it's so simple too. Because yeah, there's so much shit that we cannot change, but the stuff that we can, we really do have to have courage to change that. But the wisdom to know the difference, I would say that's actually way harder than the first two. Because yeah, that stuff gets confusing, you know? Especially when the devil's fucking with you.